Number 18 is to never weigh yourself more than once a week. Okay, it's on my guidelines for every client that joins. It's a big one. I'll tell you why. When you weigh yourself, you have a number, and that number is now in your head. And then you start analyzing that number, and then you get upset at that number. So you might have been like really, really, really on track, and then you go on the scale and like you gained a pound. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna be like, oh, forget it. It's not even worth being on track. And then you might go eat over that number. So why do you need that data in your head? That's unnecessary data. So on a practical level, just so you know, it could take food 72 hours, up to 72 hours, which is 24, 30, 24, 48, three full days to show up on a scale. Meaning you could cheat like crazy, eat whatever, go on the scale, see, oh, I didn't gain. I could just keep eating, go me. I could just, eat whatever I want. And then all of a sudden it shows up. Maybe 3 days didn't pass. That's why it didn't show up. And on the flip side, also, when you're really, really, really on track and you don't see a loss, it could be because it hasn't processed. The transaction has not been complete. Like in the bank, it posts the next business day. So if you check too soon, you're just not going to see it. So there's the 72-hour rule. There's the fact that it affects our mental state of mind. There's the fact that we're going to make decisions based on a number versus on what's right and what's wrong. Okay. And if you think about anything else in your life, like you name it, parenting, do you think about what kind of mother you are every day or 3 times a day or before the shower, after the shower, on a different tile in the bathroom? Do you assess that? No. Do you assess what kind of wife you are? Do you assess what kind of Jew you are? Do you assess what kind of employee you are? No, right? This is not stuff we check 3 times a day or even 3 times a week or maybe, or not even probably 3 times a year, if any. So why do we do that with our weight? Especially that we're getting an inaccurate reading. So I'll give you my best analogy for this because by now I love analogies. So let's say you work in a company where payroll is on the 15th and the 30th, right? That's when payday is. That's payroll. So you're working hard. You're showing up to work on time. You're being a good employee. You're doing your work. You're doing everything right. And then you go check your bank on the 14th and you get so upset. Like, where is my paycheck? I don't understand. Like, I'm working so hard. And then you might even like go quit your job or get into a fight with your boss or whatever. Meanwhile, had you just waited one more day for payday, you would have seen it and everything would be fine. So just basically don't check before it's payday. It alters your mind. It alters your decisions. There's no point in doing it. Okay. Okay. Number 19 is glycemic index, which we discussed a little bit earlier, but it's not listed on the food label. And I gave you a chart in one of the outlines. And it's just a measure of how much food affects your blood sugar. So we said we want our blood sugar to be flowing and calm and steady as opposed to spikes, right? When we have spikes, that's not good. So some examples of high glycemic index foods are sugar, flour, rice, bananas, grapes, cherries, watermelon, raisins, rice and corn cakes, corn cereals. These are foods that have a high glycemic index. So if you're prone to either binges or cravings or emotional eating, these are foods that you want to stay away from. Like you would be much safer having an extra piece of chicken. I know nobody wants that when they're emotional eating, but you would be safer with that than with any of these foods that are just going to spike your blood sugar and make you crave more. And if you are going to have those, then do them in the evening, like I said, as a treat.